This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
This table is really tilted.
Excuse me? Am I gonna get a chance to speak?
Maybe I should take that back.
Denied. Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Take a giant step for mankind.
Welcome to the Tilted Table with your hosts, Sean and Joe.
Folks, welcome to another episode of The Tilted Table, the internet's answer to a question that no one asked. I'm Sean Kabibi.
And I am Joey Joe, the Fracky Mac.
And today, this is Freestyle Wednesday. We actually don't have a topic. We're just going to start talking about whatever the fuck and see where it goes.
The proverbial flying by the seat of our pants.
Yeah, I mean, we fly by the seat of our pants in general. Like Joe will show up to my house and like, well, what do you got today? And we'll come up with an idea. It's like, do you have enough stories, or can you get enough? Can you pull from enough sources in your brain to, pull this topic off? And I'm like, yeah, I think we can do it.
Yeah.
And it always works out. So this is the first time that we've actually got up on the mic with not even having that much. They were just sitting there like, well, let's just start talking.
Well, I think the thing that both of us is, I think we're both great conversationalists, and we're both good listeners in the way that we can articulate certain stories and paint some pretty vivid pictures. Normally, I think with someone getting on a microphone and being like, you're going to be recorded, this is going to be published on the internet, there's going to be no structure, but you need to make it interesting. People start like quaking in their boots, but man, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely we both can talk. That's for damn sure. I think one of the things that I've always been pegged with, many of my former partners in life would always say I talk a lot, or I always have just insane stories. Love once said to me, I was telling a story to somebody. She had to be in the presence of this story. And she even said, she's like, I've never heard that story. I go, I've never told you that? She's like, no. It's like, every time I think that you've told me every damn story that is possible, there's always something new. Mm-hmm. Right. So, yeah, I mean, I think everybody has these kinds of stories. Maybe some have more than others because of whatever kind of life they've lived. But I think any story can be interesting. I think it's the person telling the story that for sure makes a difference, where somebody might say like, wow, that dude has always got some crazy story, when in reality it's not a crazy story, it's just a story. He may make it sound, or she may make it sound kind of crazy.
Yeah, the way that you can paint a picture.
Yeah, so we definitely are pretty good at that. I think a lot of it has to do with also when I have experiences, I think deeply enough about them that even the most mundane kind of experience can turn into me constantly thinking about, like, well, can you believe this shit? Whatever's going through my head. And then when I tell the story, I articulate what I'm thinking about when I'm going through that experience. And I just told you off air about a friend of mine that was being very passive aggressive with me. Mm-hmm. And as I'm telling you the story, I'm articulating why I think he's acting this way, right? And then kind of trying to piece it together. So in some ways, somebody might say like, hey, this guy came up to me and said a few things to me that were passive aggressive and go fuck himself. Where I'd be like, oh, let me tell you the story. And I'm going to tell the same exact story. I'm going to try to explain like, well, then he did this. But I think he was doing that because of this. So My story might sound more fascinating, more interesting, but it's really just the same story everybody else has.
For sure. Well, I guess something that's on my mind is the entirety of my lifespan when it comes to dreaming at night. So I dream every night. Uh-huh. I dream super lucid, like I can touch, smell, feel. Okay. Vapors I can see. I can fly. There's intergalactic space battles with laser beams. There's Roman legions. Like it's World War I trenches. It's very, very real.
I feel like in your brain is like every piece of like sci-fi comic book just was shot into a blender.
Pretty much. It's like going. It's
like I had a dream last night about Bigfoot meeting Darth Vader, right? Like some weird. Like you sent a meme. Like I didn't understand the meme, and it had like I think it was like a stormtrooper, or was it Darth Vader? It was one that you recently sent me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't understand the context. What the fuck's going on?
It's definitely like a carnival on LSD up in my brain, or a tilt-a-whirl, or what was the what's the one that spun around?
The Gravitron?
The Gravitron, yes. Gravitron on LSD. So I've had this dream, and I don't remember any of my dreams. I think I can remember one dream in my entire life, but there's a theme of a dream that I've had periodically since I was a kid, and I understand that this is actually a somewhat common thing. So let me see what you think.
Okay.
So and this is not like maybe a specific instance. So this is just an overarching kind of story arc. Is in your dream you can't get to where you want to go or where you need to go.
Okay.
It's not scary. It's just immensely frustrating, and you're late. You're doing everything you can to get there.
I just had this dream the other night, but go ahead.
There's roadblocks,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily physical roadblocks, just things that are preventing you from reaching your destination. And to the best of my experience, you just never arrive.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just had a dream the other night about me trying to get to work. And again, part of it is probably summer vacation's actually ending for me, and I'm starting to think more about having to go back to work, right? So I'm sure that's part of it. But in the dream, I can't find my way to the job. I mean, the other part is I'm not gonna have a car the first week I got to report back.
I say you've got to actually figure your stuff out,
right? So, but I've had dreams. That's a common theme in a dream. Yeah, this idea that you're journeying somewhere, you're trying to get somewhere, and you can't find it.
Right.
You can't get there.
So, but here's where it gets weird for me. And again, I've had that periodically through my life. I've had this it's a theme. The storyline's always different, but I've had the dream theme every night for 3 months. And I wake up in the morning and I feel rested. But I also, I clench at night. Like, dude, I clench so hard. Like I could bite the head off a hammer. Like,
okay.
So I wake up with these incredible headaches. That's a whole different story. But so anyway, but after 3 months is like, okay, clearly my subconscious is trying to tell me something. This isn't like the periodic onesie twosie type of deal.
Right.
So I actually dropped this into Grok as like my electronic therapist. So I'm going to read you a paragraph, and then I want you to tell me what you think. Okay.
So AI is telling you why you're having these dreams.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So I gave Grok very detailed prompts, and here's the outline. Here's how long it's been going, based on this information. What do you think? And so here's what it says. Dreams where you're desperately trying to reach a destination but can't, whether by getting lost, facing endless obstacles, or just simply never arriving, often symbolize feelings of frustration or stagnation in your waking life. This theme is common and typically reflects an underlying sense that you're struggling to make progress toward important goals, like in your career, relationships, or personal growth. It might indicate a lack of clear direction or solid objectives, where your subconscious is highlighting that you're unsure of the path ahead or feel directionless.
Okay. Well, yeah, I definitely, some of the conversations I've had with you, that seems to fit.
Right?
Yeah.
When you play, you're like an arcade and playing skee ball, and you get the ball into the middle hoop, and like all the lights go off.
Yeah.
Literally, I read that paragraph, and I'm like, that's it. 100%. All of those things.
Yeah. So I guess maybe that could be, the reason for the dream. It makes sense. At least in your case, it does. I've heard these stories, talking about, some of the things that you're feeling with, like, say, your job, for example. Right. And I think also it's like you start to get to a certain age, and people call it a midlife crisis, which I think is a very generic term to try to explain how certain people feel when they get to a certain age. And of course, the idea is a midlife crisis means that you look back on your life and you regret not doing certain things. So then you revert back into a space where you're trying to relive your glory years, right? And
the whole YOLO.
Right, and the stereotype being like, you start dressing like a younger person. You might go and get a bunch of cosmetic surgery to sort of replace things that you've lost, be it like, your six-pack or your hair, whatever, your facelifts, and you do things like that. And then, of course, you buy,
the red convertible Corvette.
Yeah,
right?
some shit like that. These are the stereotypes, and I don't think that that's accurate. I know some people that have done things like that, but also I think that the idea is the flip side of that coin is it's not so much that I have regrets about something I did or I didn't do back then, or I wish I would have done something differently. I think it's more of a feeling that, like, well, I understand that I'm getting closer to the other side of this hill, and what is it that I haven't done yet that I should be doing? So again, I think it goes back to a conversation we had about whether or not dreams die. That young people have dreams, old people don't have dreams, which I think is stupid. Everyone has dreams. Even if you're 70 years old, you probably still have a dream.
Right.
And even if that dream is, I want to, take a healthy shit and live at least one more healthy day, right? But the idea being that, what am I supposed to do? And I think the frustrating part when you're talking about this dream, trying to go somewhere and you can't get there, right? Is that typically by this point in your life, it's harder to make moves because you are locked into things like mortgages. You're locked into things like marriages. You might be locked into things like children. Like you can't easily just, maneuver shit. Taking risks is a lot more risky because you have other people that might be depending on you to, come through with something.
Right.
Can you say what I've always wanted to do that, I'm 50 years old and one thing I'd like to do is I want to do this thing, X, whatever it is, but that would require me to quit my job that I may have been working in for 20 years and I got a pension on the way and I've got a health benefit, right? It's not easy to do. So I think often when people find themselves a little bit more aimless in their say 40s, maybe into their 50s, I don't think it's so much a midlife crisis, in terms of I want to revert back to an earlier time. I think it's maybe more of a frustration that I actually have a lot of time left and I feel like I'm strapped down and I can't use that. I can't use that time because I got too much around me. It's too hard to sort of get this stuff done because of all this other stuff around me.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great observation.
Yeah, that would be my thought of what those dreams might be.
It's funny though that I bring this up and you're like, I just had that dream. Yeah,
I did. Yeah, I don't think my dream. I think has more to do with my frustration with the car dealership won't give me my fucking car, right? And probably partly to do with the fact that I do have to go back to school. I've had dreams throughout the years as it gets closer to returning to school where I forget that it's the first day. I mean, people have this dream when they're kids, right? Show up to school late or they don't have their pants on, right? I've got the adult version of that because I work in a goddamn school. So I don't know why that is. I've actually, one of the things about me that's always been really consistent is I'm rarely, if ever, late to anything. So I don't have that problem. But, you have these dreams where it's like I have that, oh shit, I'm supposed to be here and I'm not there. What do you know that
exactly
mean, right?
Yeah.
But one of the other dreams I've had, definitely not recently, but for a span of time, I would have these dreams about losing my teeth.
I've had that,
and I don't have any kind of fear of losing my teeth. I've never had, I don't have honestly, I have some hereditary bone loss, so some of my back teeth aren't in the best shape. But generally speaking, my teeth are, fine. Which is weird because I've lost a good part of my hair, but I've never had a dream. Even when I was starting to lose my hair, which for a lot of men is very traumatic, right? I never had a dream where it was like freaking out over losing my hair, which is weird. So you have a dream about losing your teeth, something you're not afraid of losing, and you've never had a dream about losing your hair, something that you actually went through or you're losing your fucking hair.
Well, I don't have the exact prompt on my phone. I could go back and look it up, but I had that same the teeth falling out of my head, and it wasn't like one or two of them. It's probably like yours, like they just all come out at the same time.
Well, I definitely in my dream it's not all of them, but it's, let's say, at least two or three. It's the message being sent is your teeth are falling out your head, even if it was only two or three in the dream that fell out. Like, oh shit, I'm losing my teeth.
Yeah. But I actually had I think this is, like I say, it was not that long ago, and I popped it in before I started using Grok. I popped it into Chat GPT, and because it was I woke up like right when my teeth fell out of my head, and I was like, that's traumatic.
Right.
I wonder what this means. And so, I believe it, what I found on the internet type of a thing. And it did say it was an underlying psychological stressor about things that are going on in your life, and the way your mind is trying to escape it, and the way your subconscious reflects that in a dream state is your teeth falling out of your head. And I was like, well, I mean, it's kind of broad brush, but yeah, agreed. I'm there.
I would assume that everything about a dream that involves you losing something, whether it's body parts, teeth, hair, something like that, or losing anything, is going to have the same kind of it highlights like some kind of stressors that are going on in your life. Well, fuck. That's every dream's stress.
Do you have the ones
Related.
or the dreams that where you're running or walking and you're trying to get away from something, but you're moving in like super slow mo?
No, I tell you the dreams I've had that are similar to that. I've had a lot of dreams, and I'm not going to call it recurring because I don't think I have recurring dreams, but this is definitely a pattern that I've experienced a lot of times in my life. A dream where I need to somehow make a move at something or defend myself, and I simply can't move in the dream, or I can't hit or move fast enough. Where I'm in the dream, actively in the dream, going like I can't. I'm trying to strike back, and again, it's like either I'm being attacked or something's going on, and I can't. But also those dreams almost universally, I get to a point in the dream process where I am kind of half awake, and even I realize like it's a dream. And I get angry that I know I'm in a dream and I should be able to like to have superpowers. It's a fucking dream, and I can't really move that well or move at all. And I can feel myself physically in bed going like, if I can make myself physically in my bed right now, take a swing at air in the dream, I'll take a swing at whatever I'm trying to do. So I've actually run into that scenario where I'm kind of half awake and I realize I'm in a dream, and it's upsetting to me that I feel like I can't move or I can't strike back. A lot of times, mostly I can't hit hard enough.
Yes.
Like, I'm trying, like I want to put, the nail in the coffin on whatever thing is going on. Again, it's usually something kind of coming at me or,
right.
And I want to be able to, beat the shit out of it.
Yeah. Or like in your dream, because I totally identify with this. Like in your dream, you're like as big as Mike Tyson, but it's like when you throw a punch or whatever, it's like swinging a feather pillow.
Yeah. It's wild
right?
to me.
And you can't defend yourself, and you're getting pummeled or dragged through broken glass and set on fire, and it's like you can't get away from it.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Leave a like on the video. I know you're enjoying this. Can you shut up?
The internet's answer to a question that was never asked. The Tilted Table with Sean and Joe.
Do you dream super lucid every night?
No, probably. I mean, this week I've had, what is it? Today's Thursday. I've had 2 dreams that I can remember. Well, you dream every night. It's a matter of whether or not you can remember them.
Right.
So one of the dreams was about my brother who passed away. It was odd, and without getting into a long conversation about my brother and I's relationship, it was a very odd a dream, but it sort of highlighted one in the dream. And people will dream about relatives or loved ones that have passed away. Mm-hmm. In this particular dream, I don't know if you've ever experienced this. He's alive, but I don't recognize him as being someone coming back from like passing. So in the dream, to me, he's never been dead.
Yeah, I've had that with my grandparents.
Okay, but when, the times I had dreams about my mother, I've had dreams where again it's like I'm dreaming about her, but I don't see her as somebody coming back from the dead. But most of the dreams have been very much like she came. We have that interaction in the dream where I recognize her as being somebody who's coming back from passing away. And so, in this particular dream, I recognize my brother as being somebody who is never been dead, and there's an interaction between him and people that I know. And I remember the dream. It was kind of a weird interaction. I'm just kind of like, what the fuck's going on here? And I woke up going like, I wonder why I had that dream. That was weird. Mm-hmm. So that was one dream that I had this week. The other dream I had was about not being able to make it to work. Again, the one I just talked about.
Yeah. Well, it's have you ever dreamed in black and white?
I'm going to say yes. I can't specifically cite a dream like, that one dream I had, 5 years ago was in black and white, but I know I have. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, this has been a couple years ago. I actually looked that up too, because and I never have. I just thought thought popped in my head one day. I'm like, I wonder if people ever like dream in grayscale or something. And so it's like half of 1% of the population, and it actually means something, and like it's like a special psychological deal. It's not a bad thing.
Well, maybe I've never dreamed in black and white, only because I can't believe I'm 0.1% of the population. The odds of me having that is probably pretty slim. I can't remember a specific dream that I can cite, but I also have had dreams where I'm thinking about the dream right now. I couldn't tell you if it was in color or black and white. Like I remember the dream and I remember the things that happened in the dream, but I couldn't specifically say that it was. I'm assuming it was in color because black and white stands out. Like that would be weird to like if you're having a dream, because again, when you're dreaming, you really do think that this is happening. Yeah. Right. So I think it would be weird if you're like, hey, I got a question. Why is every motherfucker in here in black and white?
Well, do you are your dreams mostly? I'm using my quote fingers here. Normal. Or like in terms of your...
No, nothing is normal. Like anybody that has linear like dreams that all make sense, that it can't exist. I'm not saying that parts of it don't seem normal.
Well,
but let's get real. It's not like, a dream is like, I had a dream the other night that I was, at my dentist's office. Oh shit, really? What happened? Well, it was weird. I walk into the dentist's office, I sit down, and I don't know, probably 3-4 minutes, they say, oh, you're ready. Oh shit, really? What happens after that? Well, I go through this door and they sit me in this chair and they clean my teeth. Like no one has a dream like that.
Actually, I think they do, because there's a lot of people that I've asked, and this is not a normal question I ask people, but in the times I've asked them about like, when you dream, is it like normal life stuff? And that's most people's answer is I don't dream. They're just like, I go to black and I wake up and I'm like, cool, I'll just continue with my day. Like just avoid. And then the other people will say, yeah, it's like just people in my life or my normal daily routines or things that I do or my activities, going to the car wash or whatever it is. It's actually very rare that I talk to someone, they're like, oh yeah, man, like there's like Roman legions storming against the, this Lord of the Rings type of a deal. Like I don't really ever hear that.
I don't know. People, well, I'm kidding enough. Somebody must dream like that, I guess. I've never seen anybody that dreamt like that. I'm not trying to say that isn't possible. I just don't know. I don't know of anybody that's ever had those kinds of dreams. I don't even think I've ever had any kind of dreams where it's like I don't know how to describe it. Like it's just, that's not the context of dreams I've ever had. I've never fallen asleep and then, suddenly I'm flying a spaceship in the battle of, Cortana or whatever, like some whatever, like that's never happened.
12th quadrant.
Nothing like that has ever happened. Most of my dreams, well, first of all, I think most of my dreams, if they involve people, they're people that I know. I have had dreams with people that I don't know, but in the dream, I know them, which is weird. I don't know if you've ever had that, where it's like the character, whatever is like I got a name and I've got a visual on a person, and in the dream, I seem to know them, like they're friends of mine. Whatever the situation is in the dream, they are part of my life. Then I'll wake up and go like, I don't know Steve, whatever the character was, like that doesn't resemble anybody. I assume it's either a composite of people I know, or maybe it is somebody I met many, many years ago, and it's subconsciously, I don't remember it consciously knowing this person or meeting this person. That's possible, I guess. But I've never had dreams that were fantastical where, I'm Braveheart sitting on a horse, with my face painted, screaming some battle cries or any weird shit like that.
Yeah, you should tell your subconscious to fire you up like that one night.
Well, you can do that. I mean,
DMT.
I have an internal clock. Like if I go to bed without an alarm and I'd be like, get up at 5, get up at 5, get up at 5, I'll wake up at 5. So I have at least a handful of times told myself to dream a certain thing or to dream away from a certain thing. This is, I don't know if you've ever experienced this. Tell me if you have. I've experienced this a number of times in my life. I'll have like a nightmare, right? Wake up at like midnight, right? And you're like, fuck, that sucked, right? And then go back to sleep and re-enter that same fucking nightmare.
Yeah, well, I mean,
or something very, very similar.
Yeah, knock on wood. It's been a year since that, but yes, that has happened, and it's terrifying.
Yeah, and I don't understand that. Like the dream's over, so if I go back to sleep, at least if you're gonna put me in a fucking nightmare, put me in a different one, right? Like why you got to continue the sequel, right? I know. So I have a couple of times where I've been having a bad dream, and I've woke up enough to end the dream. But I'm not like fully awake and going like, fuck. And I'll kind of doze back off and I re-enter in the same space. And then I'll wake up again realizing like if I go back to sleep again fully, I'm going to be right back into whatever fucking torture chamber I'm, dealing with in this dream. And that's when I'll actively start trying to think of something else. Anything, fairies, pillows, blue skies, just to create something that is different than what I'm experiencing. And that seems to work. So I think you can. I guess if, you maybe before you go to bed, you watch a bunch of, let's say Star Wars, and you're just like totally into it, and you lay down and you're like, yeah, I want to be Luke Skywalker, and you fall asleep. Maybe you'll have a dream where it's like all of a sudden you flying through the Death Star trying to blow it up.
Well, and I think like one of the other things in my dream life that's very frustrating is, there's thankfully I don't have nightmares or bad dreams. I do have that one theme that I had shared, but there are the other dreams where something amazing is about ready to happen. Like I'm on the precipice of greatness.
Oh,
it's going to take one step for
Right.
XYZ to happen.
Yeah.
I'm excited in my dream.
Yep.
It's the greatest thing ever.
Uh-huh.
And you wake up.
Yeah, you wake up.
You're like, I literally will do, this like how little kids will kick their feet up and down under their bed sheets. Like I'll throw a little mini tantrum because I'm like, come on, man, just let me finish the one time.
Yeah, I've had that dream a lot. For me, though, it's mostly sexual shit. I'm about to score with freaking, J-Lo in her prime, and it's like, wake up, like, what the fuck? And then, you know what? The nightmare ones where you kind of wake up and you go back and it repeats itself, those never come back.
No, exactly. Never.
They never pick up where you left off.
Nope.
I'm trying to think if I've had a dream where I've had dreams like that aren't. Generally speaking, that I'm not joking around. Like I think most of the time when I've had dreams that seem to have that, like we're getting close to a moment that's going to be awesome. I'd say a lot of it is sexual. But I definitely have had ones where you're getting close to a moment of doing something super cool. Mm-hmm. And when I say super cool, it could be like. I remember having a dream once where, and this was when I was in high school, I was playing football. For the very short time I played football, I remember this dream I had where we were about to win this like big game, and we're here, we're gonna win right now. We're just gonna put this ball in. I remember having that dream where we're on the field and we're gonna win this game, and of course I wake up. So that kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not super common with me. Most of it has to do with things like falling, jumping off things.
Yep.
I've actually, and everybody has that dream where you like jump off a big building or a cliff or something, or you fall off, right?
You I know startle yourself awake.
Yeah. I often would do that because I actually kind of dig the feeling. I think most people who've been on a roller coaster, that free fall, people kind of dig that. At least I do. I dig that feeling. Mm-hmm. But obviously, you can't do that in real life by jumping off a cliff and having that free fall. It's awesome without dying. In a dream, though, I know it's happening because you can always tell that's where this is going. If I'm on the edge of a cliff, I know I'm falling off or jumping off. Since I fucking just jump.
Have you ever died in your dream?
No, not that no. Unless you consider jumping off things. If I wouldn't have woke up, I guess I would have hit the ground. I don't. I've never had a dream where I'm like been shot or like at least in the dream feel like I'm dying or I've died.
Yeah, I have one time, and I think
that would freak me out.
And I remember it like yesterday, and I can give you like the quick 60-second story. I remember I was in the middle of nowhere, and it was like a lake, but the lake was only like 4 or 5 inches deep. There was like reeds through it, not tons of them, and I was running / splashing myself like in a dead sprint. Some guy was chasing after me with a MAC-10 like mini machine gun in his hand, and like I ran out of breath, and I stopped and turned around, and the guy emptied the whole clip into my chest, and I fell backwards into the water to where the water just comes out like right to my cheekbones, and I'm just staring at the sky, and the guy splashed over, looked down at me, and turned and said, "Yep, he's dead," and then splashed, walked away, and then for the next couple hours I was just staring at the sky like knowing that I was dead.
Wait, so when you say you were staring at the sky, is it your perception that you were there for a couple of hours, or did you actually recall like sitting there for hours?
No, it was my perception.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm dead. And then I woke up in the same position staring at the
Well,
ceiling.
yeah, it makes sense. That's freaky, man.
That was freaky. That's why I remember it. I woke up and it like was etched into my brain.
Have you looked on Grok to see what that's about? Dying in your dreams?
I try and keep. I will check it out. I try and keep my Grok prompts like kind of sporadic because I don't want it to be like this psychopath keeps asking me questions.
I actually had a conversation with ChatGPT where I had proposed a theory about whether or not AI could take over humanity or humans, because that's a fear.
Mm-hmm.
If AI doesn't have any emotion, it doesn't have any motivation, because you have to have emotion to have motivation.
Mm-hmm.
So if AI has no feelings, no emotions, it can't have motivation to do something. So thus, it would never try to take over humans because it has no motivation to do so. Right?
Yeah.
I think we've had this conversation before.
Yeah.
So I asked ChatGPT if that's valid theory, and we went back and forth. And surprisingly, with ChatGPT, it was asking like, "Do you want me to expand on this theory? We can talk about why people think that." Right? So we started going down this kind of rabbit hole. It's chatting. Basically, I'm chatting with the AI about its own potential to take us over. And one of the things I had asked it is about self-awareness. That technically you're not self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
But that's always one of the things that people will say, that like that's when AI will go rogue on humans, when it becomes self-aware. But I said, don't you know what you are? You are a language model. You are technically self-aware. And so it responded to the effect that one of the differences between for self-awareness to happen, there has to be experiences. I have no experiences. You have experiences. That's what makes you human. So things that you derive, things that you think about, reasons and motivations all come from a lifetime of experiences. I don't have experiences. I only draw from existing information.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of a little trip down whether or not AI would, take out somebody. But again, if you're saying like, well, I don't want to use Grok or whatever I say Gronk like it's a football player, because it'll start, somebody might start thinking I'm a psychopath. Well, Grok won't. Grok doesn't store anything. It's just a language model.
Yeah.
So it's not sitting there going like, oh, this guy's a fucking nut job. Now, I might think you're a fucking nut job, but I have experiences.
Yes,
so I'm
yes.
Whatever you say, whatever you do, for me to make some sort of judgment about you comes from my own experiences and what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be like, yeah, these guys kind of fucking weird, right? AI models don't have those experiences. They simply are drawing off of existing information.
Well, I will consult it later today, and I'll text you the chat so you can see if I'm truly off my rocker.
Well, I don't think you're. Look, I know a lot of people that are mentally unstable, and you're far from it. But I can see why you think you might be a little weird, because you are kind of weird.
Quirky. I prefer quirky.
But in the context of what you consider weird and what I consider weird are, I think, vastly different.
Yeah.
You're like one of those guys that would think like, wow, I shouldn't have said that. Or I shouldn't have worn that shirt because I think people are going to think I'm weird. And I'm sitting there probably going like, yeah, he's a little bit strange. And then I'm looking over at a friend of mine that's, God knows the shit that he's pulled. And I'm like, that dude's fucked up.
Well, this has been a good chat, man. It's the first time I've ever talked to a friend about like dreams and what they might mean, and it's funny too. And then what I've read is how common some of these themes or elements are, like the falling thing, the being stuck, the running in quicksand, teeth falling out of your head. Like it's like incorporated into our DNA to a degree.
Yeah, well, we're all humans and we have similar experiences. And also, I think the other thing that people kind of dismiss is, as much as the world wants to make everybody unique, right? I have this joke. This is coming out of my book of essays. The subtitle is a collection of unique essays, just as unique as everybody else is, right? So the idea being that we live in this world where people really believe that everybody's experiences are their own, which is true. I mean, obviously, we're not living the same exact lives, but it's similar enough, right? We're all humans. We all have the same emotions. We all have the same wants, the same fears for the most parts, and so, yeah, I think people are going to dream similar kinds of things to represent whatever it is they're going through. And that doesn't surprise me at all that people's dreams, definitely cross over. And everyone's had that dream of falling, or everybody's had that dream of sort of can't find their destination.
Lost.
Yeah. So that's super common. Because, we all have, again, we're human beings. We're living at least the human experience, unlike ChatGPT and Grok. They have no experience.
That's why they won't take us over. Wink, wink.
Supposedly.
I have an important announcement for you, so stay tuned.
Yo, that's some next level shit, bruh.
So you got me. Big deal.
The internet's answer to a question no one asked. The Tilted Table with Sean and Joe.
Folks, thank you for joining us for another episode of The Tilted Table, the internet's answer to a question that no one asked. I am Sean Kabibi.
And I am Joey Joe, the Fracky Mac.
And fun Freestyle Wednesday. That it's basically an episode about dreams.
Yeah. I thought you were going to be like, dream on, dream away. Peace.